This medieval game just killed Escape from Tarkov forever. Here's why. Enter Dark and Darker, a medieval hardcore dungeon looter crawler full of frightening mythical monsters, tons of treasure to plunder, gruesome deadly bosses to slay, and the nerve-wracking objective to stay ahead of the other treasure hunters working with or against you. First up, you'll pick a class. You can pick from the fighter, barbarian, rogue, ranger, wizard, cleric, bard, warlock, and druid classes. It's like a mix between the Elder Scrolls and Warcraft, all of which have their own respective stats, choice of weapons, spells, and general bonuses. In the Tavern, you can view the dungeon map to start a game. There's also a quest log where you can take on missions for rewards which change every few hours. You can also view your player stats, which show things like your total games played, your extractions, kills, monster and boss kills, and more, each which is specific to the different instances that you can play. The karma system basically is your trust factor, and it's based on player commendations or reports, and with your fame level, it increases by 1 per level each season. The playlist lets you view all online players and view their character stats. This shows total players online in dungeons, in the lobby, and it also includes the friend list too. This is of course for Steam and non-Steam. The ranked and unranked leaderboard system shows the top players and their scores. It's a system which is based off adventure points which are accumulated via high roller dungeons, which lets you rank up from neophyte all the way up to the demigod rank, which is of course the best. And on the class tab, there does seem to be a training mode, although I couldn't really seem to access it yet, so maybe that's a work in progress. The perk and the skill tree are where you can view all the character stats of your chosen class, as well as pick your active perks and skills which you can actually use in the dungeons. The inventory system is pretty much like Tarkov or DayZ. It's called a stash, and you can access it in the menus or the in-game menus to switch out your gear and your slots. There's a range of different traveling merchants that you can deal with. You can buy and sell different gear from them, and this is dependent who you choose. And you can also become a trader at the trading master to enter trade chat with players. This has some requirements, which is being level 20 and spending a bunch of gold. There's a group finder of sorts, and this is called the Gathering Hall, which makes it easy to group up manually, and this is split into the different server regions. And of course, like a battle royale, you can customize your character with cosmetics and mess around with goofy emotes just like you can in Fortnite, although you won't be seeing the Orange Justice or Electro Shuffle on here in this game. There's also a store where you can upgrade to legendary status, buy cosmetics or shards, which I guess is the in-game currency, although I don't really think I'll be buying anything on here. The maps rotate occasionally. Now when I was playing, there was the Frost Mountain, Goblin Caves, and the Ruins of Forgotten Castle, each with the harder high roller difficulty option. I'll be sure to include some gameplay of each, albeit short. The Goblin Caves is the first one that I played. There's a lobby to start out, which as you'd guess is just people screwing about, punching each other, or slicing one another with shivs, or spamming magical spells. But it was a pretty cool way to test out the sword and shield combat system, as well as listening to some beautiful tunes from the bard, who I just bashed in the head with my blade. Poor guy. The game feels very much like Oblivion. You usually spawn in some dark, derelict room with some chests that you have to lockpick, which can contain loot like helmets or potions. You spawn far away from the other players, although you can find them throughout the labyrinth if you survive. Unlocking chests and doors are awesome, and you might notice enemies like the skeletons erupting out from the ground, which is pretty menacing, even breaking apart the doors, so it seems certain map elements are destructible. It's also pretty immersive when you can hear distant moans and grunts of enemies before they come out of nowhere too. Now I won't lie, I didn't really last very long on my first run either. Ironically, when I ran into the first goblin, the little guy with his sword and shield absolutely battered me. There's an art in actually timing your blocks and swings in this game, or you literally just get deleted. But this was a cool opportunity to take a look at some of the other classes in spectate mode. Apparently 2 guys had banded up together whilst I was struggling fighting out solo. I guess a magic and melee class banding up to beat up some wasps. And also these freaky huge spiders. If you're scared of spiders, you probably shouldn't be playing this game. It's not exactly arachnophobia friendly. Couldn't be me. You can see the magical spells are pretty cool in this game. You can stun or slow enemies and then just curb stomp them. And the staff gameplay looks really fun too, but I haven't really tried the casters yet. Next up, Frost Mountain. This map was absolutely brutal. I spawned in a frozen tundra with a bunch of chests, instantly plagued by frozen skeletons. Kind of like the Draugr in Skyrim, some of them with swords and shields and some with bows and arrows. Now the AI isn't dumb in this game either. The ranged skeletons will bash you with their bows if you come close, and you'll need a lot of potions, which is unlucky since I only started out with a few. There are also these really creepy bats too with skull heads, one of which this skeleton just team killed for me. Thanks, I guess. The combat does feel really nice though, although a little bit repetitive as the melee class. It's fairly simple to ward off one enemy, but when you have a few on you, that's when things get hard in this game. Also, these ice zombies on this map were terrifying, and yet again, they also remind me of the zombies off Oblivion. Now, if you watched this channel back when we were mostly a Minecraft channel, you'd not be surprised that I died to a skeleton. They're still the bane of my existence, clearly. Finishing up, I dropped into the ruins. I spawned in a tiny walled off room with a little crawl space to get out of there. I have to say this was perhaps the hardest map that I played. I looted some dead dude in the corner who only had a wizard hat to give. Poor guy. Now the reason this map was hard though was because of the low lighting. You need to get a torch to even see and get around, which kind of adds to the immersion and makes things that much more tense. Also, there's these horrible wasps that spit toxic acid on you. Remember those ice zombies we talked about? Well, on this map there are toxic zombies. These guys do a big gargle and then they erupt out into a cloud of toxic gas, kind of like the boomers do from Left 4 Dead, and this stuff burns, trust me. And there's no shortage of these guys too, although the strategy is to just go behind them when they do this to get the drop on them. But it's very easy to be like an inch in the gas and just nearly die. It seems like they just come out of nowhere and they just don't stop coming. This map was kind of creepy though to traverse, especially when you wonder if some monster of mythology will just jump out at you at each and every corner that you look. Also, did I mention the traps? Just like Skyrim, you'll get sheared by wall spikes and arrows, so watch out, because I didn't. And that is Dark and Darker. It feels like a classic. It blends all the fancy elements from the games that you love, blending it with the camaraderie of multiplayer. What do you think of Dark and Darker? Have you played it? Do you think it's any good? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more gems. Thanks for watching.